Hello and welcome to the Hangout. How's everybody doing?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. My kids are both in camp this week, and it is kind of throwing off my sense of time that I got here.
You're in camp time.
I'm in camp time. It's a lot of like get the first one to camp and then get back, and then it's like, how do I start my day? It's late for starting my day, but I only have so much time before the other one has to go to camp. So, but they're both having a good time.
No, that's good.
Mostly,
Good.
I have to switch my camera, move my camera just a little bit. There we go.
Smidgen.
It's off to the
As
side.
a kid, like my summers were entirely camps,
Yeah.
just different ones, or sometimes like the same one but with different sessions, or like all camps all the time.
I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and oh God, I saw a lot of those camps.
Did you do sleepaway camp or did you do day camps?
I did both. There was a day camp here near me, which was fun, and then in Boy Scouts we went to a one up in the Sierras, and that was fun until I realized there were no showers. There were for the adults, but not for the kids, because they're like, nah, y'all are teenagers. You're just gonna stink up the place, and that's how it's gonna be.
Oh no.
They're like, there's like,
do all those adults lack a sense of smell?
I don't know,
Right.
but their response was, there's a lake, and my response was, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. If that was my kid, I would be marching down there. My husband would be like, don't yell at the teenagers. They didn't do anything.
Now I'm thinking like I did one sleepaway camp like as a camper, and then I went back as a counselor, which was a very bad decision. Like very different experience as a counselor. No. But my kids, they gave me the like oldest ones, like 8th graders, so they were kind of old for camp, but and they were like always in the bathroom like primping to the degree that like, is like, why are you curling your eyelashes at like camp in the woods kind of thing. They also like bugs. They started this like inter-cabin war, did my kids, which was like awful because I was asleep right at the time.
Oh no.
I snuck out in the morning and we're like doing the like shaving cream in the boys' cabin, and
oh jeez.
so then like
times.
First I find out about it is like when like, so there were, whoever did it, there must have been like 4 or 5 of them. So like say 3 like come into the girls' cabin and like slam the door, and like everybody's waking up and like, what is happening, and then there's somebody like screaming in rage, like pounding on the door, and it turns out they had left a 4th member outside. So she got just like covered in shaving cream with the wrath of all the campers.
Oh no.
They did.
Wow.
So, and then like finally they dispersed a little and they let her in, and she was just like covered. And
who says summer camp movies aren't true? I mean, come on.
Right? And God. Their punishment was the like scrubbing the toilets in the bathroom kind of thing. But like,
wow.
No.
Yeah, my summer camp memories were just like a lot of Magic the Gathering cards and like
God, you giant nerd. I love it.
Yeah, just
see, that was the annoying thing about Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. There were not a lot of nerds there, surprisingly. And I had to try and sneak as many nerd things in as I can. Like one summer, I was very hyper focused on Small Soldiers because that movie was about toys that were really cool. And I tricked a group of kids into calling ourselves the Team Gorgonites, and I was so happy.
That awesome. Sounds badass.
Yeah,
but you got to play Magic.
1 week.
Or
oh, sorry. I was gonna say I only went to 1 week of summer camp ever. It was a sleepaway Girl Scout camp, but otherwise we were like, it was like fend for yourselves. It was very much like latchkey summer. Walk to the library, get all the books, go to the frozen custard stand, get the tiny cheap cone, like but just absolutely no structure.
Mm.
Which my kids need more structure, or they just come up and they go, Mom, I'm bored, and I work at home, so I can't just be like, sorry, I'm at work. Stop calling me.
So
Love you,
Yeah.
Mom.
I remember when I was a kid, there was like some summer that the local library had a program, like a day program for kids to just like run around. I'm sure it was just only like an hour or something, but it
Mhm.
felt like forever. And I remember it was incredible, not just because like I had all the time to like read books, but also because their AC was just like some of the best air conditioning in the entire area.
Library
not
air
wanna leave.
conditioning, cut above. Right up there with movie theaters.
Oh,
Mm.
and with the crystal cold, crisp water fountains.
Oh,
Nice.
it's the dream right there.
Did you guys do the summer reading programs? Did
I
you
mean,
ever
I
have
think
those?
so.
I lied
The-
about them.
You lied.
What?
It may surprise you to learn that the ADHD kid with dyslexia wasn't that great at reading.
That's fair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
They're
the
good.
kid that like they come out with the summer reading program and they'd be like, read a book a week, get a prize. And so I would like pick which of the 3 books or 4 books I'd read that week that I wanted to put down on their little form, because you couldn't fit 4 books on that little
Yeah.
one line. And then I turn it in and they'd be like, here's a free book. And it would be like a tub of like, sort of like thin chapter books, like Boxcar Children kind
Yeah.
of thing. And I'm like, but Mercedes Lackey, those are my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
books. I want one of those.
Can I
I read a
stack
bunch of
these
those
up
too.
and get a good book? So much like my feelings about museums, like my childhood has absolutely spoiled me in that like we had a really good summer reading program.
Yeah.
Like it was you there was a certain number of books you had to read over the summer, and every time you hit a milestone, you got a prize. And these were like absolutely junky prizes from an adult perspective. Like they had an adult one too, and I don't remember how the adult reading program worked, but it would be like, here's a pencil. But there was this like ice cream place right next door to our neighborhood library. It's frozen custard for those of you from the Midwest. And so you get a coupon for a free cone once you got like the first 5 books. And then it would be gift certificates or like stickers and stuff like that. And then at the end, there'd be a drawing for like a really good prize. My sister won it one year and got a microscope, which was cool.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Right? Like, and this is the thing, like our local library is like, read for 300 hours. I'm not tracking hours. That's awful. And then it's like in the middle, you get like a tote bag if you're one of the first 50 people. And then at the end, they do a drawing. And I'm like, this is not motivating at all. So this year, my son and I got Seattle Arts and Lecture put out a bingo board. So you read different types of books. And if you get the bingo, then you get a drawing for a gift certificate to a bookstore. But I made a deal with him that if he got it, once we both got a bingo, we would go do something. Like there's a Taiwanese fruit tea place he likes. We'll go get fruit tea. He wants to go get ice cream. We'll go get ice cream. And I like this better because every time the library here does it, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, don't be worse at this than Tiny Town, Missouri. Come on. So
Yeah, I remember doing that program or something like that program back when I was a kid. And theirs was really like a low-hanging bar. It was like, oh, read 4 books in like 1 month or something, which was like far fewer than I actually read because I love books. But I think once you earn that, they gave you a ticket to either like a pizza party or like an ice cream sandwich party. And that was like the event to be at for the summer.
Well, who else did the Pizza Hut personal pizzas?
Oh,
my sister did that for me. My
Oh,
sister got that, and I was like, what the hell? I want that.
Well,
Like, no, we don't do book it in your grade.
my school did exactly what Yang Yang just described, and
Yeah.
I vividly remember it specifically in 2nd grade because they had this poster board up on the door and had everybody's names. They put gold stars next to it and all that stuff. And the thing is, though, is like I knew how much of a struggle that would be for me.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, and the prize is a pizza party. And I went, if I just ask real nice, I could probably get that tonight. Not the party, just the pizza. That's the only
Pizza.
part that I
That's
really
true.
care about. I don't care about the party. Somehow I was a second grader and still an introvert. And so like I vividly remember this time where I'm over near the board as the teacher or the teacher's aide was putting the stickers on, and she was just like, did you read any books this week? And I went, no. She was like, but you could get a pizza party. I went, yeah, I know.
Like, this is not actually motivating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I thought pizza was like the most expensive thing in the world. Like a pizza party, it would be like
Well,
extravagant.
we didn't go to restaurants, so like for me, part of like, or not didn't go to restaurants, but rarely went to restaurants with my family. So like, not only is it mine, it's all my pizza for the book it, but like we went out to get it.
Mhm.
The ambiance of the pizza.
See,
Yeah.
the funny thing is
love
I still
Pizza Hut.
loved books. That was the
Yeah.
weird thing. Like y'all had the Scholastic book club things, right? Where
Mhm.
they're
Oh,
the
yeah.
book fairs.
Yeah.
And the
Like I
newsletter.
would still lose my mind on those days. I'd be like, I gotta get all the Goosebumps books, but I didn't freaking
Yes.
read them.
I feel like being an elder millennial, I hit it just right because I got Book It, but I missed Dare. Like Dare.
You
was
missed
sort of,
Dare?
I missed
Oh
Dare
my
somehow.
Wow. I mean, I'm a little older than you, and I had to do like I remember having to write an essay and read it in front of people about how Dare was great. And in retrospect, I'm like, it was not. It basically was like, here's all the drugs, kids.
Yeah, I see, and I hit the point in it where they were like, okay, we've been doing this a few years. We have confidence now. And I'm like, oh no.
Also, they had like the shirts they gave you were like black with like red on it.
Yeah.
And my year, they decided to redesign them and they showed us a bunch of them. And the best one was like a heather gray with like a hot pink. That's not what they did. They went with like bright yellow with a hot pink Dare logo. And I never wore that shirt. Even
Wow,
as a
that's a
fifth
lot.
grader, I was like, no, thank you. That's not happening.
I mean, I feel like I must have got cut rate Dare somehow because I didn't have the official one, but one of those like stupid ass jingles that lives in your head rent free. There was a like anti-smoking program that had this little jiggle about we are the smoke-free class of 2000 because I graduated high school in 2000.
Wow.
And I got this in like middle school, so they
Wow.
were like planning ahead, like that.
Yeah.
Through high school, I would still not smoke, and then I would graduate as the smoke-free class of 2000.
Wow.
I don't remember any
suppose-
of the content of this video, but like I could sing you the jingle.
Oh, I mean, if you can find this
mean-
video, I would play it on stream.
I am genuinely curious about like that sort of thing. Like, do the adults who create that actually go like, this is it, this is what's gonna work, and they're gonna go to their graduation and they're gonna sing this damn song for everybody? Or are they like, listen, we just gotta like do something for the state money?
I don't know. One of the funniest things that happened to me with Dare, like we had a Dare officer that would come to school and talk with us regularly, and they almost had like programs for themselves where like, this is my curriculum of a curriculum.
Yeah.
Right? I said that word weird. And so
We knew
like
what it was.
they were there quite a bit at one point, but I never thought I would cross paths with them again until one day in high school. I was walking home with my friend. My friend he was a super senior. He was like 19 and still going there, and so he's 19, so he's smoking because he can. And we're walking away. A cop stops to card him because he sees a kid with a backpack walking away from a high school with a cigarette. And the cop was just like, "Is that Trevor Bettis?" And the dude is like,
no.
"How does a cop know Goody Two Shoes Trevor?"
Oh my god.
And he comes back to me, he's like, "How did that cop know your name?" And that's the information I came in with. And we eventually figured out that it was my Dare officer, and he's like, "Man, I thought you were cool for a moment."
That's when you have to come up with the lie.
Of course
That's
I
when
didn't
you're
know.
like, well, so I was at the library late, but then a knife fight happened.
Nice
happened.
knife fight, yes.
Oh,
This is
jeez.
okay. So, like a tangent from that.
Oh wait, I
Um,
want to talk about one thing
oh,
related
do
to it
it.
before we go off onto a tangent. CN Shadowwalker in the chat said "Scruff McGruff, take a bite out of crime," and
Oh!
that's actually all I took from Dare. That was like the entirety of our Dare program.
Were those
was they just
related?
showed us. I don't know.
I think I'm pretty. I remember seeing a Scruff McGruff video during a Dare talk.
Yeah, that's just like my entire memory. Is they're like, we're gonna have a Dare presentation, and it was just like McGruff the crime dog doing something, and I don't remember like anything else about it except I do remember one jingle, which is like Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and you were supposed to like mail them something as a kid. Like, do you mail them like a pledge that you're not going to do drugs?
That's the most
don't know.
before the 2000 thing I've
Fascinating.
heard.
Yeah. But that's
I do
all I remember from
There
it.
were a lot of jingles that involved like zip codes.
Yeah, why are they making me memorize their address? I have no idea. But I remember it to this day.
Yeah.
I still know the zip code for Boston because it's in some kids show. 03121. Wait, maybe I don't remember. 03124, I think is it.
Beverly Hills,
Um,
90210.
What was that tangent you had?
That did make me think. The only thing I remember is doing skits where we practice saying no to drugs. And the only thing I actually got useful out of it is that I was anxious enough that I was convinced if I ever did a drug, I would die of it. Because that was definitely what I took, was like, oh no, I will probably die from marijuana. Doesn't happen, actually. The thing I was going to say, so my husband is extremely good at like just this deadpan delivery. And so the first time we went out on a date, we're at like this carnival that our school put on, and he's got a scar on his neck, right? And I said, he said something about it, and I said, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get that scar? Because it's a solid like thing. And he just looks, and let's paint this picture, right? My husband is at this time a computer science major. He's a kind of skinny guy. He's fairly like mild mannered, and he looks at me and he goes, knife fight. And I was just like, he said it so like calmly and seriously that I was like, oh shit. And I'm sitting there going like, how much do I like this guy? Is there a scenario where this is okay? And I'm like, my brain is spinning up like, what could this have looked like? And then he looks at me and he's like, I'm joking, right? And I was like, I did not know you were joking. The answer is like, he had like a spider bite or something, and his dad's friend was a dermatologist and tried to like remove the scar, and it made a bigger scar. But it does look like he got stabbed in the neck by a knife.
Wow.
But he did not.
Yeah, my
Or
parents
he's
had
he's a really, really good liar, and he has a history that I don't know anything about.
He saw the panic flash through your face. He's like, I gotta come up with something fast. Spider bite.
He's not Jason Bourne.
So
my parents have a friend with like a divot out of like the bottom of his ear, and he has this whole story about like it was a near miss with a bullet, and like apparently like he maintained this like their entire acquaintanceship, and it was only like talking to somebody else who knew him earlier was that it had been like a benign cyst that they removed for like biopsy or something.
That's a much better story.
yeah, so you all have been talking about like knife fights as if they're like really badass and cool, but like I've never actually seen a knife fight.
It's
like,
terrifying.
I'm sure it is, but the only visual that I have is actually like the knives, the jets, and the sharks from West Side Story.
That's
so every
the
time
only
you guys
thing
talk,
I actually know.
There's
Yeah,
not
so
as
that's the
much
visual that goes in
twirling.
my head.
I will tell you that.
What about the Mummy 2 or 3 where they're like holding the knives like backward? It was weird, like pseudo sort of like Egyptian. It was one of the later Mummy movies, and so rather than like pointy ends first, she's got like pointy ends back towards her, but then she like strikes like this. It was some weird shit.
Yeah, that I know it. That was in the second one. Yeah.
Okay.
Fun times.
wait, where have you seen a real knife fight that was terrifying?
I was in Boy Scouts.
Scouts.
Just as a
Did
heads
you
up,
do this in the Boy Scouts?
no, Boy Scouts have pocket knives. No one ended up getting hurt, but two dudes legitimately started fighting with them.
Wow.
And everyone managed to go, no, we are not doing this. And they were put away. But like, yeah, I've seen the start of one, and because like I hate to say it, the closest reaction is that stupid fucking B horror movie scene with the kid going, oh my god, they're eating her, and then they're gonna eat, because in my head I'm just like, oh my god, they're gonna stab each other, and then they might stab me. Yeah, that was one of those sleepaway Boy Scout camps. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can understand how it would be terrifying to you, but like now I'm just imagining like these young, awkward teenagers.
It was late at night. We were coming back from like a big get together. Like for some reason they're like, we're gonna get the whole camp together and do a bonfire, but like
jamboree
2 miles that way. Like we all had to walk 2 miles from the camp to get to this giant pit. And so then apparently some BS was starting over there, and I just happened to be walking near the group that was having the beef.
They're like, let's make them walk 2 miles so they're too tired to knife fight each other.
And of course, in true teen boy fashion, those two were best friends by the end of the week. Like,
oh, that hormonal burst of rage.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Boy Scouts, which a terrifying example of a knife fight, was a Boy Scout. All right.
Boy Scouts is just a trick. Like there was another one where this is again one of the weird extremes of Boy Scouts. We were already at a sleepaway camp, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go on a 5-mile hike and sleep at an old fort and then walk back the next day. I went, okay, sure, whatever. The camp counselors orchestrated that in the middle of the night, people would show up dressed as cowboy bandits and say that they were going to kill us.
Wow.
And put us in, and like gather us up, but then start telling ghost stories.
Oh, okay.
And I'm tired from walking. It was more than 5 miles. I'm in my sleeping bag. It is 2 a.m. A camp counselor wakes me and says, there's cowboy bandits here and they're threatening us. They say we all have to gather up near the campfire. And I said, are they shooting anyone? And they said, no. And I said, then I'm going back to sleep. I turned over.
How old were you?
I was in 6th grade.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
So like, this is my son's age, and I'm just imagining like Idris would absolutely not fucking have it. He would be furious. And he wouldn't, sometimes he's a little too honest with other adults, and he would just be like, this is a really irresponsible decision that you're making. I can't even imagine who thought that was a good idea, and I'm so impressed that you said you're just like, no, we're not doing that. Way to lay the law down, baby Trevor.
Yeah, seriously, having way more calm under pressure situations than current Trevor. So,
what region of America was this?
New Mexico.
Wow.
This was there is a very famous scout camp in New Mexico called Philmont. It's out in the literal middle of nowhere, and I hated it.
Yeah, I did Boy Scouts for 2 years. I had like no experience like that.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah, we built like CO2 rocket ships or racer cars.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah,
I did City Kids 4-H. So I did like,
that one.
well, I mean, that's not literally what it's called.
4-H.
So cooking, sewing, crafting of various kinds. So at the state fair, there's all these different like areas of crafting that you can do. And then cooking was pretty hardcore as far as like they teach you food safety. And then you can work your way up where you're like cooking in front of judges at the fair in their little like kitchenette things. And so
Was there like
I liked it.
Were they nice? Was there like a Simon Cowell type personality?
No, I mean, so have you ever entered anything in the state fair? I feel like
No.
there's no shared shared experience
Mm-mm.
of
I have entered a photo in a state fair for a competition.
okay, well,
Hey.
because they depending on like who else has entered in a category, there might be stiff competition for like first, second, third. But as far as like when they take the little 4-H kids and they like judge them before they award category awards, they give you a blue or a red, so sort of like good or not as good. And when they're doing that, it's very sort of like, here's what you could do better. Here's your learning experience. Here's like, we talk about what was difficult. So it was very sort of like learning about it.
Nice.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
It is 6:26. I would actually love to
Okay.
revisit this topic in the future.
Well,
But
we
yes,
got
we have to
the
play an
hangout
ad.
next week. So.
Yes. All right.
Yes. Next week live show.
I'm really worried this topic he's alluding to is just me talking about Boy Scouts.
Let's just delve more into Trevor's childhood memories. But yes, until next week. See ya.